So hey everyone, welcome again on the Stack channel. So till the last video, we have created a structure of our register form page. Now it's time to create a controller for this page. Okay, so we will going to create a GetX controller in this video, which will take care of our business logic for this register form page. Also, we need to change the backend API thing because as of now we are only accepting the mobile number. But now at the time of registering, we have to accept password, name, email, those sort of thing. We will do that thing later, but let's focus on creating a controller for our register form page. Before I will start writing any code, I just need your help and support. Please don't forget to subscribe the channel, like the video and share the video because this subscribe count or liking a video will motivate me to make more videos because I'm putting lots of effort and I need your help to grow this channel. Okay, now let's go and let's go inside the register page, and this is our view, and now let's create a controller for it. Okay, so you know the MVC pattern, and we had to have two things. The first thing is the model. This is a model, then this is a view, the dart file which represent the UI, that is a view, and this is a C called controller. Okay, and here we will going to create a controller called register controller.dart file. Just like the login controller, we use the GetX controller as our base thing. Okay, similarly we have to use a GetX controller only. So let's create a class register controller extends GetX controller. It imported the state manager.dart file, and here we have to create a sort of all the controller for our text form field. So let's create a controller one by one. First one for the password. So let's create a text edit controller password controller password text controller that will differentiate the logic, the naming convention. Text edit controller. Okay, we are doing this thing one by one. Second thing will going to be a full name. Third thing will going to be a email. Fourth thing will going to be a mobile number. And fifth thing will going to be a hint. Now the next thing will going to be this one. This one is the what we call it is buttons for male and female. So for that I'm going to create a new variable which will going to store the string value which can be a female or male. Okay, and to create a data type over here we have to use the rx first. Rx string will going to be a data type. Okay, initially the value will going to be empty string, and we have to put the OBS. Why this sort of thing? I mean, why we are using the rx string sort of thing over here? Because in general cases when we use a stateful widget, then we have a set state, all those kind of thing to make the state change. Okay, but once we are using GetX, then we have to use the GetX provided data types and use the OBS. OBS is for if I will assign any value to the gender. Okay, so if any changes will happen in a gender variable, because of the OBS it will try to re-render the screen. Okay, so that that is the way to use GetX. Once you will get a clarification, once I will use this gender variable in our UI part, okay? But as of now, don't worry, we will come to this part later, okay? So now we have initialized all the variable, okay, for all the fields. What about this mobile number field? Okay, so if I will go back in a login bottom sheet, then you will find that we already provided a number, okay, in a login bottom sheet. So why that number is not coming here? We have to use that number over here, right? And how we will access that number? Okay, so this is a sort of state management, and as we are using the GetX, so GetX will help us to manage all the states. You remember that we already created a login controller, and in the login controller we have put this login editing controller, okay, which is assigned to text, this text form field. So all the value which we type here, that will going to store in this login editing controller. So once we will get access of this login editing controller, then it is easy for us to get the value of it, okay? So how we access it? This login controller we have created, okay, in a login feature, and now we wanted to access this login control in our register file, okay? So to access it, we have to do the same thing as we did on login bottom sheet. To access the login controller, what we did that we created a controller with help of the get.put. What we have to do is now we have to use the get.dart file, okay, and here we have to create again a login controller instance, and in now at this time we don't need to use the get.put. Instead of using a get.put, we have to use the get.find, okay. Why I am using the get.find? So the basic thing of using the get.put is that suppose you will use a get.put in a parent route, okay, then automatically all the login controller access will be added to the all the children's route, okay. So this is a children screen, right? So this is a parent screen, so this screen will come first on a widget tree, then after that this screen will come. So we already initialized this login controller in the parent screen, so we don't need to use the get.put again. Instead of the get.put, we have to use the get.find, and get.find will help us to find the login controller, okay. We have to just provide the generic of the login controller, okay, and that's it. Then we can directly access the login controller which we already initialize in our parent routes. So let's use this login controller, and where we have the number, here we have the number. So here we can directly use the login controller and directly access the login editing controller which we created, and directly use the text, okay, and we don't need to use the const. Yeah, so the number which we already added over here, we got the access, okay, with help of the login controller instance which we created. So that is the beauty of the using the GetX. We don't need to manage a state, or we don't need to pass a parameter from this screen to this screen. That is already taken care by the GetX. We just have to use the controllers which we created for those pages, okay. So now we got the mobile number. What about all the variable which we created for these many fields? So let's create a register controller, and here we will going to use the get.find, because we haven't initialized the register controller in our in the parent route, okay. So we are first time initializing the register controller. Now if in future, if after clicking on the create account, if I will get on the next screen, okay, at that time I will going to use the get.put. okay, so I mean at that time I will going to use the get.find. So first thing, at the time of first time initializing of any controller, we have to use the get.put, and after in a later part we have to use the get.find because it is already available on a parent's route. Okay, so we have to use the get.put because we are first time initializing the register controller. So let's use the register controller, and let's go on each field. Okay, so we have a multiple field, and that field start from the create password. So in the text form field, the generic text form field which we created, it is not accepting a parameter called controller. So let's go here and let's accept a text editing controller. That will be optional, text edit controller, and we have to get it from the parent to the child. So we have to pass it as a property. Okay, and let's initialize it over here. Okay, and now we need to pass every controller which we have on a register controller from this parent to their child. Okay, so now it will take text editing controllers, okay, as a parameter, and we have to use our register controller because all the state we are managing in a register controller only. So if you wanted to access this state in a like 3 or 4 level of child screen, then we can directly access it. Suppose this is a first level, and after that if I will click on a create account, if I will go on a next screen, then after clicking on that screen button, if I will go on again next screen, and I wanted to use this all the state, then we can directly access it, right? We just have to use the get.find to find this controller, and all the state we created in a registered controller can be accessible on a children's screen. Okay, so that's the beauty of using the GetX. Okay, so let's use the register controller and initialize it. So here we have register controller, and the first controller will going to be a password controller. Okay, similarly we have to pass for register controller. Okay, we don't need to use the cons over here. It will be a full name controller. So I'm passing the controller which I created for each of the user, each of the text form field. Okay, then the next thing will going to be a email controller, email text edit controller. Then the next thing will going to be a alternate mobile controller. So here we have to use the alternate. Have we created mobile number text edit controller? Okay, let's use the const, hit the save. So all the controller till this is initialized. Let's go for the hint name. So hint name also have a text edit form controller, so let's get it. So the hint name is also initialized. Okay, now the last thing which left is this thing. So we have to handle the on tap for these events. Okay, so let's create two method over here. Okay, let's create a two method, void, or one method only, on gender tab. It will going to take a parameter call value. That value going to be a string. Okay, that can be a female or male. So let's pass this thing. So as of now I have created it. I'm going to pass this thing from this register.dart file to the gender button which we created. So where we have the gender button, here we have the gender button. Okay, so I'm going to pass it. To pass it, first we have to accept that parameter. So please watch the thing very clearly. So it will going to be a type of function, and this function is taking value. Okay, and the name of the function will go on gender tab, and this function can be optional, this dot gender tab. Okay, and that thing will going to occur, I mean we will use this on gender tab, where once we will click on the female or male, so we have to pass the value. If I will tap on the female, then I have to pass the value female. Okay, why it is giving an error? The function can't be unconditionally invoked because it can be null. Okay, so let's not, we will put as a required. Okay, so it will be a female. If I will tap on a female, the value we will send here to here. Okay, it can be a female and male. So let's go. If I will tap here, then it will be a male. Okay, and let's go on here, and in a gender button we are getting some issue. The value of type null can't be assigned to the parameter of type dynamic. Okay, this should happen because of using the constant here. Okay, so now once I will click, then that value will come here. So either it will be, let me add a print statement. So let's print a value which we will click and got here. Okay, so too many positional argument. Oh sorry, I think I was using the JavaScript, so it is not a JavaScript. Okay, so let me restart the whole thing, then you will get the clear idea. So let me provide a number 987654321 something, click go, that number is came here. Now we have to check on tapping on a gender button, we are getting the exact value of the string or not. So if I will tap here, then I should get a female. If I will tap here, then I should get a male. That's great. Now what about the after clicking on the value, we have to set it. We have to set this gender value. Okay, so then how we will do it? We have to just use the controller which we created, dot value, register controller dot gender dot value equal to the value which we are getting from on type method. Okay, so whenever we will click on male and female, it will try to re-render. Okay, and after doing a re-render, we need to change the background color of this button. Okay, so let's go on a gender button, and in the gender button let's take a string type of data called value. Okay, value, or we can say a gender value, something gender value. Okay, and it will going to be a required one again, this dot gender value. Okay, and we need to pass this gender value from here. You will get idea, just bear me for some time. I will wrap this video soon. Okay, so this is a value gender dot value which we will get, and we need to use a colon over here. So just give me some time, then you will get an idea. Let me finish the UI part. We are getting the value, gender value. So if the gender value is male or female, then only we have to change the color accordingly. So let's use a color over here. Let's change the color to this color if it is tabbed. So this color we will use a gender value. If the gender value is equal to female, okay, if the gender value is female, then the color of the container will going to be a color, or we can say app color dot button color we have. Otherwise it will going to be a colors dot white. That is a default color. Okay, same thing we have to do for this container as well. So if it is male, then like this. So you can see that if I will click on a female, then it is not happening. Okay, to happen the re-render sort of thing, we have to wrap this OBX, this thing with the OBX. I will explain you, just give me a time. So male, female, yeah, just give me some time to change the color as well. So here the color also going to be a change, so we have to use a style. I will going to create a style. That color should be text style. Text style will going to be text style with color colors dot white. White and dark. Just give me some second. Dark, it should be a final also. We need to, instead of white it will be a black, and we have to iterate it. Okay, so style will also going to be changed accordingly. Right now I'm just thinking along with coding, so it may be not a great solution, but yeah, if it is male, then the style will going to be white. Otherwise it will going to be dark. It can be more generic, but yeah, as of now just go with this. So the same thing we have to do over here. So if it is female, then I can reduce. Right now I came up this solution, but this solution can be more better. But yeah, right now it's working fine as expected. And why it is working fine? You got the idea that what I am doing that here, but let me explain the thing we did here. So you got the idea that how gender tab is working. We are getting the value of corresponding value we have for the label, okay? And what we are doing, that register control have the gender, okay? And that gender which we created, it is a type of RX string. So, and I have made the RX, this gender variable as an observable. So any change will happen on a gender variable. I wanted to re-render the screen. That's why I have used a GetX generic type. Okay. So to make any changes, to assign a value of that gender variable, we have to use like this. Okay. We are getting, we have the register controller. Inside the register controller, we have the gender variable, and to make any changes, okay, we have to access it via the value. If you change the name over here, that will also work. So it will gender, okay. So the value, to make any changes on the variable which we created, we have to use dot value, then assign the value which you wanted to change it, okay. So this is the way that you make any changes on the state you have created on any controller, okay. So this is the way to change the state. Once the state will change, we wanted to change the color, the background color of the buttons, okay. That's why what I did, that whenever you use a GetX and the part of the UI you wanted to affect, so you have to wrap that part of the UI inside the OBX. OBX, what it will do, it will return a builder method, and any changes will happen over any variable on the controller, so that the part of the code you have wrapped inside the OBX, that will going to be re-rendered, okay. Not all of the part, the part of the code you have wrapped inside the OBX, that widget will going to listen of any changes on the variable which you initialize on a register controller, okay. So that is a beauty, that using a GetX, it will not try to re-render anything, okay. It will just going to re-render the part you have wrapped inside the OBX, okay. So if I go on a gender button, what I did, I am providing the value which we are changing all the time, the exact value. So this value, after assigning here, when I will click on a female, then this value will become a female. If I will click on a male, then this value will become a male, okay. So that is a state, and I am providing that state to the gender button. So in the gender button, what I am doing, that I have written a logic to check that if the gender value is female, so if I will click on a female, then the gender value will become female, because we are directly providing the state of the gender value, okay. So if it will become a female, then change the background color to the button color. Also, you have to change the style color of the text. So because of that only it is working the way we have, okay. So I guess I have explained you in a better way. So but yeah, I guess you this part is completed. Now we have initialized everything. We have initialized all the controllers, I mean text edit controller, we have initialized the buttons, we are getting the number as well. Now it's time to work on a backend part as well, to take care of all the new field which we wanted to send from the front end to the backend, and we will do that thing in a next video. But please, if you before moving on a new video, don't forget to subscribe the channel, like the video and share the video. It will highly motivate me to make such videos. Thank you all. See you on the next video.